I am back with one of the most important videography questions that was ever asked in the 21st century. If you have one of this, should you invest almost $2,000 to have something like this? Long story short, no. Well, thanks for watching the video. Come back to check my next video next week, and until then, see you. Bye bye. Well, you came here to get kind of a detailed answer. So let's talk about mobile and DSLR videography. In this video I will show you some footages that I recorded with my Samsung Note 20 Ultra. It needs some more names. And with my Panasonic GH5. And I was inspired because I recorded one short B-roll. Like, I recorded it in 3 minutes and it blew my mind. Here's the footage. You ever post something in your Instagram story and you're like, this is too good for a story? Here. Isn't that great? Like, when you see footages like that, you kind of want to leave this chunky camera home and just record with your phone. Well, let's get more deep into this. Intro. I recently purchased the latest Samsung Note 20 Ultra. And this phone is so good that at least for like a month it was the best phone on the market. Well, yeah, the specifications are like crazy good, but you can Google those. We are only here to talk about the 108 megapixel rear camera and the 10 megapixel front camera. I believe I will start talking about the front camera because that's not really interesting. Yes, it's hidden nicely in the monitor. It's really a good continuation for the bezel wars, but that's it. It has a regular and wide feature. This way you can take pictures with more friends. I mean, if you have any. Now, the front camera is only important for the people who are making TikTok videos, but if you're interested about higher quality videos, then you will never use the front camera again. I'm pretty sure that you don't want me to talk more about the front camera, so let's talk about the real deal, the rear camera. The back camera has a regular wide, an ultra wide, and a telephoto lens. Just like with the previous generations, I'm double tapping the power button and the camera application pops up. Now, with the latest update, on the bottom of the screen, I can actually choose which lens I prefer to use. Now, I could bring a bunch of cinema gear just to make this video look better with this camera, but because this phone is so compact, it just fits in your pocket just like a normal phone, I will only take my GH5 camera with only one lens, a 12 to 40 millimeter lens on it, and no anti-filter, no stabilizer, nothing, just the camera and just the phone. Just after you watch the whole video, put together the pros and the cons in your head and let me know which one do you think you prefer more. Now let me start with something that got really famous after the Peter McKinnon era, and that is the 120 frames per second. And as you can see, Samsung never really had a problem with this. But if I compare this with the GH5, yes, Samsung will burn the colors into the picture. Unfortunately, every single time when you're recording with 60 FPS, you cannot use the extra wide lens. But now that I'm back on 30 FPS, I can select between the extra wide, the normal wide, and the tele lens, which would be, yeah, I cannot do that with the big camera. Well, that's the maximum I can zoom in with the big camera. Meanwhile, with the phone, I'm able to zoom in a lot more. Let's get back to the normal wide. That's about the same now, so about 40 millimeter, and this is what I'm losing it because this is the widest with my 12 millimeter, and then with the extra wide, now you can completely see the lens of the camera. So extra wide, normal wide, and the tele. And now that I'm looking at these footages, I'm kind of shocked, because I knew that the GH5's image stabilization is really good, but if I look at the phone footage, well, that looks better. And this is not even the hardcore image stabilization application or whatever tool that is added to the phone. And especially when you zoom in like this, you will need this. Here again an example when I have the camera on the right, I have the phone on the left, and it just zooms in extremely. And again, the stabilization is pretty good. But now here comes the problem when I turn on the stabilization tool on the phone. This is the GH5, this is the phone. And this is generated as the phone records a 4K footage and then stabilizes the footage and crops in. So you basically lose a lot of quality. Look at this footage. Like, I don't know what happened here. I think I used the same settings, that's the problem. Like, this is just washed and looks really bad. I don't know what happened here. But hey, it's stabilized. But let's stop talking about the stabilization, because that's not the most important thing with this phone. It's pretty competitive. If you look at the footage, the zooming option, the wide lens, why would I take the camera with me if I'm just shooting for TikTok or Instagram or even for YouTube? And another thing that's important for me is the autofocus, because the GH5 is horrible with it. And this focus is just extra fast. Even if I use the wide lens, it's just, I don't know, it works. Well, you remember when it started raining and I had to put my camera in the backpack? Even the GH5 is weather and dust proof, I don't like to try those things out when I'm talking about a $2,000 camera. So I know that my phone is waterproof, I know that I have an insurance on it, and you know, it's just easier walking and the risk factor is a lot less. Let's call it that way. You know, it's really crazy where we got, because now with the phone we can record almost the same or probably even more. Let me explain. If I go to record a professional looking video like a commercial or a short movie, would I record with my Samsung? Definitely not. And it's not just the general quality of the video, but if I show up with the camera, people will look at me differently. I look more professional and people will look at me like, oh, this guy is here to do some business. Meanwhile, if I'm going on an event, or I know that I'm gonna drink a couple beers, or I will potentially party and I want to record a video like this, well then obviously I will record with something that's on my pocket, the phone. The first reason is true for you and for me as well, unless you live in a cave. Because as soon as I go out that door, my phone is in my hand or in my pocket, and basically I'm taking this phone everywhere with me. So it's really convenient to just take it out from my pocket and, as I said previously, record a couple of shots and put it back in my pocket, and when I come home I will edit the video. Now reason number two is that I'm paying like $15 insurance on this phone, so if I destroy this, I pay $300 and I get a brand new phone. And even this way, even if I don't have the insurance and I pay $1,400, it's still cheaper to replace this phone than a GH5 body with the lens. Because if you look at the price of the DSLR body and a Sigma f1.8 18 to 35mm lens, well, our price tag is almost at 2K. You know, I'm trying to become a videographer for 3 years now, and since then I feel like I never have money, because there's always like a new camera coming out, a new lens coming out, new lights. There's always something that I could just buy, and investing in technology is stupid. If you want to get into the TikTok or YouTube business, more likely YouTube, because that's better quality, just try to buy a phone that has multiple lenses on it and try to learn how to tell a better story with all of these lenses. Just record in 4K, crop it in post, and try to learn how to use the Pro Camera option, because this will really help you to learn how to use a DSLR in the future. But if you're starting right now and the phone cameras are already this good, I don't think you will really need to learn how to use a DSLR. Because technology is cray-cray. In fact, I'm not even human. I'm a robot. Cringe factory. Ignore the previous footage, just hit the like button and come back to see my next video when I upload the next video. Bye bye.